Dusk is one of the most dangerous times for him. It is a fictional character based on the myth that a man turns into a wolf at the full moon of each month. Several movies have been made about this character when he turns. He does not differentiate between enemy and friend. His biggest enemy is the vampire. Today, we are talking about werewolf.
The legend of the werewolf is considered one of the oldest and most famous myths in human history. There are many stories about these mutant organisms in Romania, China, Brazil and many other countries. Some call them a werewolf and some call them lichen. Whatever the name, it talks of one person transforming in the moonlight into a human-sized wolf. There are many legends about werewolf legend from Romania. The legend says that Cornelius is a noble man who lived in a village affected by an epidemic. Everyone died of its impact except him, as he did not even catch any disease, as if he had acquired some kind of immunity. After him 3 children came. One was bitten by a bat and became a vampire, and the other was bitten by a wolf and became a werewolf, and the final one, he must go alone in the path of mortals. This legend was represented in the famous movie called Underworld. Another legend comes to us from Transylvania, and it is said that it originated from a family called Sacrosan, a feudal family since the Middle Ages that ruled the country with iron and fire until the curse struck their offspring, as the children were born werewolves, and the disease began with black urine and then colic and then turned into wolves, infecting anyone by biting. The werewolf can hear the heartbeat of its prey, smell its blood in a very sensitive way, and know the places where the artery that will attack it protrudes. There are different types of werewolves. Alpha. He is a werewolf who is the leader of a group of werewolves and the leader over them, and he has a red eye that appears clearly when he turns, and the more red tends to the darker color, the stronger he is. Beta. This type of werewolves are characterized by golden yellow eyes, and what distinguishes them most is that they did not resort to killing, and some of them have blue eyes. Omega. They are a group of members, but they are not wanted, because they are very weak and cannot kill or seize the powers of others. Scientists have talked that some people have certain symptoms, such as thick hair and love of raw meat, and these are symptoms of a disease that has a scientific explanation and treatment, called it Wolfman disease, but the scientific name for it is porphyria, which is an imbalance of iron in the human body, and then symptoms occur colic and black urine. In rare cases, nails become elongated, fangs emerge, skin wrinkled, eyebrows become thick, lips cracked, eyes red, and the patient avoids the sun because he cannot bear it. In short, he turns into a human wolf.
On a full moon night, maybe you don't like to wander alone at night, especially in the woods. You will be really unlucky if you hear a cry coming from afar, howling like a wolf. That will surely be the sound of a werewolf, the wolf man who plays a terrifying role in fantasy legends, or who is portrayed in films, is bloodthirsty with his coarse hair, sharp claws and prominent fangs. Does it actually exist? Or is it just imagination and illusions? Can a human, man or woman, turn into a monster that attacks with its fangs and claws and rips human flesh? Miss Lisa, werewolf or lichen, some believe it is just a myth, and some believe it can happen. What is your feedback on this?
Do not drink wet wolf claws. Do not sleep outside under the full moon. Do not anoint your skin with magical ointments. Do not expose yourself to any strange curses or events. These are all medieval recommendations to avoid turning into a werewolf. These beliefs, and others like them, have always prevailed in the Middle Ages. And if there are these instructions and warnings from the Middle Ages, it means that the werewolf is a fact that exists and not a fantasy, regardless of the illusions we see in movies and series.
I suppose now you have proof that a werewolf is real, right?
There was evidence of this legend, and it was described by important scholars. It was described by the Greek physician, Marcellus of Arcadia, when he spoke of what is called laika anthropomorphic, meaning the state of the wolf-like imagination, where the patient eats raw meat and howls whenever he sees the full moon. Ibn Sina, one of the eminent Arab scholars, where Ibn Sina noticed in one of his patients thick hair, enlarged forehead and fear of light, and he called it at the time al-Qutrab. There are legendary warriors called berserkers, who were a group of northern men who were known for their brutality and violence in combat. They are not afraid, they do not feel pain, their human strength is superhuman, they fight to the end and do not give up.
But what are the reasons that makes a person turns into a werewolf?
One of the important reasons that lead to the transformation of a normal person into a werewolf is the occurrence of a genetic defect or a genetic mutation that causes the so-called werewolf syndrome, or Ambras syndrome. Ambras syndrome is a rare genetic disorder that causes excessive activity of hair follicles on the human body, hypertrichosis in areas where hair usually grows, resulting in an abnormal proliferation of hair that grows long, dark, and thick, but not on the scalp. On the abdomen, back and extremities. Italian physician Ulysses Aldrovandus recorded the first cases of Ambras syndrome in the 17th century in the González family of a person named Petrus Gonçalves. Petros González was born in 1537 in the Canary Islands, and the family was named the Ambras family after the castle in which their pictures are displayed so far in the city of Innsbruck in Austria. Ambras syndrome does not cause any symptoms associated with excessive hair growth, and the individual grows normally, and normally without any defect in his physical or vital functions. However, some individual cases suffered from deformities such as the protrusion of the jaw and teeth, the appearance of extra teeth or a delay in their growth, some muscle deformities, abnormalities in the arteries and veins of the heart, enlarged breasts, blue water in the eye, or excessive vomiting.
Mr. Henry, what do you think of Miss Lisa's opinion?
I think that a werewolf is a fictional character invented from the disease that Miss Lisa spoke of, which I will talk about later. Miss Lisa said that if there were recommendations and instructions from the Middle Ages about protecting ourselves from werewolves, that meant there were feral werewolves, and I don't agree with that opinion. There are many legends and instructions that were mentioned in all ages and were not true at all, and this is conclusive evidence of the existence of these monsters. It is also not necessary that strong tribes that have strange habits be werewolves. For example, most African tribes have very strange habits such as eating raw meat, and this does not mean that they are werewolves. We see and hear in the movies that killing them is either by stabbing them with a silver knife or shoot them with a silver bullet in the heart. This is all science fiction and unreal. I believe that there is indeed a disease whose symptoms have been embodied and developed to become the werewolf, the fictional character that we see a lot in movies. As Miss Lisa said, there is a disease called Ambras syndrome, and I will now talk in more details about this disease. A genetic disease in which a person is exposed to a state of hypertrichosis. It is a condition in which the hair grows in the human body more than the normal shape. In this case, hair grows all over the body such as the face, eyelids, and ears, and the overgrowth of hair may be in the form of scattered patches or combined. Currently, it is estimated that less than 100 cases of Ambras syndrome are reported worldwide. This disease has many symptoms such as deformities at the level of the jaw and its prominence. Sensitivity to sunlight and ultraviolet rays. There are two distinct types of human werewolf syndrome. Generalized hypertrichosis syndrome. In this case, we find that hair grows densely and continuously throughout the body, except for the palms of the hand and the soles of the feet, and with a length of up to several centimeters. Circumscribed hypertrichosis, in which case we find that excess hair grows on certain spots or specific areas of the body such as the back, abdomen, face, shoulders and neck. Congenital hypertrichosis syndrome may be caused by the combination of a rare gene from the father and the mother, in which case the child is born with it and symptoms begin to appear from birth. In other cases, acquired hypertrichosis is caused by exposure to some chemical, hormonal or radioactive influences. These cases are localized and are easier to treat than the inherited cases that some are born with.
Is there a cure for this disease?
Excessive hair growth syndrome is treated using traditional temporary or permanent hair removal methods, but it is more difficult than hair removal in unaffected individuals, and may be somewhat dangerous, as it may leave permanent marks on the skin or the appearance of allergy symptoms, so avoid taking growth-stimulating drugs. Hair. The Bhutathoki family in Nepal, made up of a mother and her 3 children, underwent a permanent laser hair removal treatment at a private hospital in Khafri, near the Nepalese capital, Kathmandu. After the treatment, the family was able to regain its life to live normally, so the children could play with their peers without any calibration or opposition because of their outward appearance.
What do you think now? Is the werewolf as we see it in the cinema a real character, or is it just a disease developed to show us the werewolf? Well, if you know that one of your relatives or friends has Ambras syndrome, what will you do? Waiting for your opinions and comments. Don't forget to like, share the episode. Thanks for watching.